Hey, we are back with one of my favorite guests ever, George Valdez. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
No problem.
And of course, I have to ask because this podcast is named Bad Millennial.
Yes.
What generation are you?
Millennial.
What year?
95.
Okay, so one of the last millennials
Mhm.
at the end of the cutoff is like what, 96?
Yeah,
Okay,
technically, that's what I read.
technically. I feel like it changes whatever publication you're reading, honestly. But
They say 96 and then 95, and they stayed at 95 for a long time, so I'm gonna keep it that way. I'm the last. I'm gonna keep it that way. I'm the last, and we're the best. Sorry.
I mean, I'm a millennial too. 93. I was like right there with you. Like,
Last of the Mohican.
yeah, yeah. Like, we're not faking this millennialness, but we're in it. We're in it. But no, it's a good question. Do you actually feel like a millennial based on a lot of things, right? But like, what would you define a millennial as?
I would say lucky enough to grow with technology,
Mm,
you know, because we knew the world before the technology took over, but we grew up into our adult lives to use something so great, so powerful, and that moves our world a lot quicker than anything else. I think that's all,
nice.
you know, because like the old people, every single time they just need help with like the simple. For us, it's so simple because we grew up with it. We were like, okay, you know. So as we moved along, we grew up with it and we knew how to adapt. So, that's what they say a lot of the time, these old people, and but yet they don't do it themselves. So,
Well, that's very true. Like, honestly, we're able to be flexible. We're not freaked out so easily about all the new things that are coming out, just because, we know how good it was back then, right? But also how much better things can be.
right,
Not to say technology is end all be all. Like, I love, having a hardcover book or a newspaper, you
right,
know.
right,
But also, like, if you just want something quick on the go, boom, you have phones, computers. I mean, soon enough, chips in your head. But, like, we were, I think, honestly born in a good time where we at least got to appreciate
right,
the old ways and learn about the new ways. And then, as adults now, we can actually make money off of that stuff.
right, exactly. So it's a new and cool experience, especially with new things like AI coming out. It's pretty cool too. Like I'm scared of it, but at the same time curious of how it'll go. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way, you're kind of, I mean, you've worked with computers in your
Right.
job and stuff as, working with cars, but
Right.
it's like AI has been around for a while. It just hasn't been as visible and earth shaking as it is now.
Right, exactly.
There's a computer and everything.
Seriously. I just think it's so funny 'cause talking about work, I'm technically like the IT guy.
That's true. Computer science guy, HR.
Like, whoa. What are you paid more on salary? Can you pay me more?
Say that again, please.
Like, come on.
Please.
Like it's so funny. But hey, what can I say?
Yeah, and it's part of being, a responsible adult. Like,
Right.
we've learned, at least at this point, that the job you're hired for is not going to always just be the job you do.
Right.
And the more you know, what they call us, they call us knowledge workers
Right.
now. So the more we know, the more valuable we are.
Right.
But it's also we have to balance with like not taking advantage of, where we don't have an actual healthy work-life balance.
Right. Exactly. That's gonna be for next episode.
Oh, that hits up. All right, let's do that for the next one. Ooh, I got something good. Okay.
No, yeah, but honestly, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to be part of this generation, even though these old people hate it. What can I say?
So when you speak about old people, are you speaking about just people older than you or boomers?
Just talking about people that just don't know that. It's not
Okay, it's
necessarily
like a state of mind.
because because I have had old people come in and they're very techy. But they're like, oh, I don't know how to do it, but hold on, let me figure it out.
Nice.
2, 3 minutes later, they figure everything out. They're sending me emails. I'm like, cool, dude. I'm like, I appreciate that when people do that. But when people are like, well, I don't know what it is, they just like give up on something. It's like, well, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's simple. Here, just do.
You're like you're so close.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily say it on the one generation. I just feel like our generation is awesome for knowing just learning how to adapt. You know, that's part of life. You gotta
Yeah.
learn how to adapt.
Truly. And as you grow older, back in the day, I just kind of quantified things by birthdays. Like, oh, 13, I can do this. 16, I can do this. 21. But now it's like open field. You are just adapting and just learning new things every day.
Right.
And to not be afraid of that, to actually embrace that, I think it's a really good trait that we have.
Right.
And at least I hope millennials are trying to keep that going, even with the other generations.
Right.
Like, obviously teaching older people how to do stuff can be a pain,
Right.
but it is for the better of everyone if they know how to do it and they know the steps to ask for help.
Right. And you know what I do appreciate about the our generation as well too, and a little bit younger generations that they're very patient when
Mm.
it comes to customer service. Very, very patient. They understand that hey, he is doing his best that he can, and try to go on. Meanwhile, the older generations, they're just, I want this now, I need it done now. I'm just like, whoa, but you're not the only one here. So that's another thing
That's
that,
fair.
that I like about our generation. We're we're in the cycle of, hey, we're in this together. Why stress everything out?
Yeah.
So it's
And
pretty cool.
we're really not at the point where we feel too much entitlement to things.
Right.
At least I hope most people don't feel that way. And now that could be different based on how much money you make. But in general, we're kind of like so connected, obviously through technology, social media,
Right.
that we're all just like, you know what, I can learn this from you and I can learn this from you, and that's awesome.
Right.
And I will say that like it is interesting with, social media, things come quickly. So
Right.
like, TikTok, you can
Mhm.
learn anything in like a second.
Right.
And I do wonder if that affects how we feel like when things actually do have to take a longer time. So, like for instance, people kind of want it now immediately, think it can
Right.
be ready now, or even like with success in like career or certain life milestones. Like, do you ever feel like you just want something done now, whether it's, getting a house or making more money, or are you still trying to balance that? You know what? It is what it is. It's gonna take time.
Well, you have to be patient about it. You can't, just jump into it because if you just jump into it, going too quick, you can make things crumble. You know, you have to be patient enough where you understand that you're not gonna have all the money in the world, but you'll eventually get there where you'll be really comfortable. So I would say yes, I've had that experience where I just like I want it. Being the youngest out of three, I was the one that I need to take action, like, get it, I need to get this, that, and the third. But no, you have to understand that, hey, whoa, relax, you know, don't get yourself in so much debt. Get yourself, comfortable. Get yourself a job that's going to get you, the money, and then not only that, appreciate that, that you end up getting that job that you really like. Unfortunately, I don't like my job as much as I wish I did, but it's all right. I understand that, you know, good things are going to come. You have to be patient with, hey, just got to jump at the right opportunity.
Yeah,
So never try to miss on an opportunity for sure.
I love that. Yeah, it really is just focusing on the present moment, being
Right.
present. If your needs are met, and some of your wants,
Right.
I'd say that's a pretty good life.
Right. No,
Yeah.
seriously. And honestly, that's a lot of the times where even social media, like I don't even post on my stuff anymore because I just feel like, hey, you know, I'm done. I'm kind of over it.
Let's talk about that. Social media.
Social
Are
media.
you an anti-social media millennial?
No, I'm not. I'm not an anti-social media millennial, but it's just the fact that I just feel like a lot of it comes with you know, how can I say it? Some things you just want to keep private, you know?
Yes. I mean, the concept of privacy, it's almost like a foreign idea. Like, you
Right,
never had it, and everyone has to live for social media.
right.
Please tell me, what does privacy mean to
Well,
you?
just keeping things on the low and, your accomplishments to yourself, I feel like, it's just like I just feel like being a little bit more humble compared to, others, I mean, it's just, I don't know.
And honestly, social media has kind of become a business as
Right,
of late. A lot of
exactly.
people who are showing off fancy vacations and clothes, most of the time that's from brand partnerships
Right,
and ads versus like the good old days of social media
right,
where people were just like living and just like, I have photos and drunk videos and everything's
right,
posted on Facebook, you
right.
know?
So I just feel like that's the idea where I feel like the older generation doesn't understand that we created social media to connect with each other,
Yes.
not sell us, all these tons of things. So it's just
Yeah.
marketing now. It's just like you just kind of like go in there and it's just like ad after ad after that.
Oh my gosh, talk to me about it. I mean, honestly, I work in marketing and so I understand the mechanics and stuff behind it. But at the same time, it's almost like you're jumping from app to app to app. And honestly, for me, Threads right now is a safe haven because I think they're waiting until a certain point. Yeah, they're waiting until like they have a certain amount of followers to actually let the ads and the bots in. So right now it's so peaceful, it's quiet. It's
Right,
like the very early days of Twitter
right,
where we were just connecting and having fun. It's kind of sad that now every other scroll is an ad
right,
or you should follow this person and you don't even see your friend's content anymore.
right. Exactly. So that's the thing that I'm missing out too. It's like, hey, like I'm here for my friends, not for these people. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's like Starbucks in your local coffee shop,
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
right? So it's like, yeah, Starbucks is cool, but the coffee shop makes a better brew. So, what can I say?
Exactly. It's like, are you just going to go for the status quo or do you actually want really good coffee?
Right.
So that's a good way to put it.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Anti-corporate. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, let's talk about your career track as a millennial.
Right.
So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, okay, 1995, we're in high school. You know, is it at that point, was it junior year, freshman, or senior year where you're just like, I really love insert whatever, cars,
Right.
math, numbers.
Yes.
Was the plan always to just go straight into working into cars, or was it obviously you had to like
Hmm.
probably do internships or service jobs and stuff to get to
Right.
that real job you really wanted?
Right.
Let's talk about that.
Oh, so, straight out of high school, well, even during high school, I already knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to basically follow my brother's footsteps in becoming a mechanical engineer. Um, but came to be a challenge and everything, especially working full time, helping out my parents with their business, and then, me myself, trying to get into school, and those long hours, just kind of killed the mood of just, going back into school. So I kind of stepped away from there, and I knew that I still wanted to work on cars, so I decided to go on an adventure to see if I can get myself in the car industry. So I was just working my way up there. I was just trying to learn the most that I could by myself, and then took some community classes on learning how to fix cars. So, and I met some really great people that were learning just like I was. But I just feel like a lot of the people there um, really looked up to me, even though even though I was like, hey buddy, I'm in the same boat as you are. I'm
In
like, I'm
what
dumb as hell right now too.
in what way were they asking questions?
Yeah, they would ask me a lot of questions because at the point where I started taking classes, I was already working at a Subaru slash Ford dealer.
I see.
So, when I got into the job, like, and I feel like I would annoy all the technicians all the time and be like, hey, what does that do?
That's
What
good
is,
though.
and that's what you want to do. And like, and so I'd be in their face. It's like, can I help you? Can I help you rebuild these engines? What can I do? Can I at least clean the engine parts? because I knew that, just by doing that, learning the very small, simple steps, that I would get to the fact that, hey, I know how to clean this better faster. Because now I'm going to be, a making money machine. Hey, I got to do this quicker. So, and cleaning is the biggest,
That's the
important,
biggest issue, or
like the biggest thing or the biggest thing that consumes most of your time trying to, just put the vehicle back together, just
I
cleaning
see.
it, cleaning it very well. And a lot of the times when I would, end up cleaning parts for technicians at Subaru and Ford, dude, what the hell? You cleaned it better than I would. So, and there, that was like an up boost because shit, I'm doing a good job. And so that's the reason why I kind of got into that, and I really love the atmosphere because like, hey, you're not doing anything. Come over here. Let me show you something new. And I'm like, cool. And I love learning. And that's the thing that I feel like the balance from learning and basically doing a repetitive thing, like that's where it kills me. Right now I'm in a stage where I'm just doing a repetitive thing. I'm
Right,
not learning.
right.
It's
So you
like,
kind of feel stuck in a
right,
way.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's the reason why, the industry, I feel like it, a lot of technicians don't end up they love being in the field because it's like cool. Let's learn something new. Let's figure this out. And that's I feel like that's the toughest thing to ever do, especially with a car that you don't even know what it may be coming in for. So, you know,
That's probably why you like tinkering with cars
yeah,
on your own
exactly.
time. Yeah,
I
that
do
makes
hate
sense.
it. I do hate it when it's my own car
Oh, there.
because it's just like I just want you to work. Why do you do this to me? So, but when anybody else's car is just like, cool, let's do it. Come on, let's figure this out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's like babysitting someone else's kid. Like,
right.
well, all the crap that's going on with you, I'm gonna have to deal with later.
Right,
So
exactly.
I get that.
So yeah, I mean that's how I got into, being a technician. I really wanted to do that. I honestly I wanted to become that engineer so I can design the engine and technicians wouldn't hate me.
So cool.
That would have been awesome, honestly,
Yeah.
because a lot of the times where it takes, a company. Okay, so in the car industry, there's customer pay and warranty times, right?
Hmm.
So I'm gonna go back into the industry. The customer pay is a little bit more than warranty times, but the reason why we hate warranty times because they're ridiculously low,
Low.
low in paying time.
Oh,
So
I
you
see.
get
So it
so
pays less.
yeah, you get assigned to let's say, hey, remove this engine from the vehicle, and they'll pay you. Let's say, for warranties, like, hey, we're only going to pay you 10 hours.
Mm.
You know,
And it takes longer.
and a lot of the times it's like, hey, you guys have all this other crap, and it's an unrealistic time, to do something like that.
Okay.
So that's the reason why there's the two differences between the balances, right? So the reason why I wanted to become an engineer was like, hey, make it simple for technicians to work on, but yet, have an efficient car.
I do like the idea that you know what goes behind it all.
Yeah.
And so if you were able, I mean, you'd be able to design the perfect car.
Yeah, gosh, you don't know how many times when I used to work on cars, I want to just throw a wrench, just go
I
off.
can imagine. At the car and customer, you know?
Germans are really great at making performance cars, but they suck at making it easy to fix a car.
Interesting.
That's the last thing that they think about.
Oh, okay. So if you want performance and pretty stuff, there's certain types of cars
Yes.
you would definitely focus on
Right.
versus others.
Which I wish it was the best of both worlds for both.
What car would you say?
Best of both worlds.
I feel like every episode I have to ask you a car question at this
Car
point.
question.
So,
I mean,
what is the best of both worlds type of car or brand that you can think of off the top of your head?
yeah, let's come back to that honestly, because
There's not
because
many, or
there's like nothing at all.
got some improvements in the new guy.
Because let's just put it this way, all cars are crap.
Is there
Except
any?
for the Japanese. Japanese, it's like, it's not really, there's some really good Japanese cars,
That would be like,
engines that would be really fast and sporty, but designs aren't there. They're
there's
easy
some
to work on.
there's some names.
Toyota, Honda, Mitsubishi. Those are the three main ones. Like Subaru is a good one too, but there's some difficult parts about it.
These names are so good because the first thing I think of is just reliable
Yeah, it's
and it
reliability
works.
for sure. Yeah, that's the that's the safety of that car. It's just
You
here
want
you
to work
go.
a
Hey,
car.
there's a work
Yeah.
car, but is it fun? It's alright. Not bad.
Right.
But it's not the up and up that you want. Off the bat.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you tell me from working on cars, yeah, there's no car that engineers make easy to work on like that.
Interesting.
Not like
So
that.
maybe we'll see you tinkering around with engineering. I don't know. Maybe
Yes.
looking into
Maybe using
programs.
my brother's brain. He has this
It's right there.
Hey, don't do that.
It's right there. Yeah.
So,
That is interesting.
yeah.
The fact that you know so much behind the scenes, you're not just like doing your job. You're thinking more than just the job,
Right.
honestly. And I can kind of see why people at your, college would be like, well, he knows so much. Why is he not teaching this class? Like, what's he doing here? But I, I wonder, like knowing all of that, did that help you or hurt you in like, career growth, I would say.
I would say it kind of hurt because it kind of, you know, uh, it kind of made me not shy to ask questions, but I just felt like they just they're expecting me.
Underestimate.
Yeah, they were just like expect me to know everything, and I'm like don't know everything, So I'm here to learn just like you guys,
Right.
It's like, and it doesn't, and I feel like every single time that I would try to learn, like there's a lot of interruption because then people would want to learn from me. So I feel like a lot of the time I always felt like a leader. It's like, hey, show me how to do this,
But that's good
It's
practice
good.
though,
It is good. But at the same time, it's just like, whoa, like give me a breather. Let me figure it out first, and then I'll show you.
Or they should learn it with you at the
Right.
same time, which
Exactly.
would be awesome.
A lot of the times that's the case, but which it's cool, but it kind of hurts my learning ability to basically process of thinking about my own. It's like, hey, I don't do this, this, that, and the third. Like just try to figure out.
So it's almost like you have a little bit of a pressure to just know
Right.
how to do things.
Right.
And then it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It kind of sucks where it's like if you actually don't know something, but you're guessing or you're putting band-aids on stuff, then people are like, well, George said he knew how to do this and da da da.
Right. So, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's the main thing that I do not like when something like that.
It's like people need to learn on their own and not fully rely on just other people who seem like they know what they're doing. That's how most people get into a lot of trouble.
Right.
A lot of things.
Right.
Yeah. We all have our own brains, know? That's why I really do love about millennials that we are lifelong learners, I have to say. And that's probably because of the technology, changing so rapidly. I mean, every month there's a new update for something on your computer or your phone.
Right.
So if you don't learn, you're kind of just stuck in the water and
Right.
society's gonna pass you by.
Right. Exactly. So that's not like my generation.
Do you feel like other millennials actually relate to you, being that you are on the quote unquote end of the generation? 96 is like the official cutoff so far. Do you feel like you have a lot more Gen Z traits at all, or are you just firmly millennial, team millennial, love them? I mean, I think I'm almost leading the witness to the answer here, but like, how does it feel to be on the cusp of two generations?
I mean, it feels weird because you just feel like you're the youngest, and the older millennials feel like you don't know anything, but yeah, I don't know how to explain it actually. Like it's a weird feeling that it's just like, well, you're too young. I'm like, okay, but yet again, I know things.
Right. Like define too young. Like I too young to get a driver's license, that's checked off.
Right.
Am I too young to like know what's going on in the world? We all have phones that have the news and everything, and your heart's content really. So exactly what is too young to be
Right.
considered what a full-fledged millennial versus a Gen Zer.
Right. So it's just I don't really consider myself a Gen Z. I mean, no hate on them or anything, but I just feel that there is a difference between the two. If you can't, okay, let's put it this way: if you can't remember 9/11, then that's not getting
That's
the
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know the trauma of what happened during those years.
That I mean, it sucks, but that is a good cutoff point. Honestly,
Yeah.
like the memories that you have, 9/11, Y2K, when the
Uh,
2000s hit.
right.
Um, oh my gosh, so much, honestly.
It was just so quick if you think about it. Like it's so weird to grow up with the world that grew up so quick with each other.
Yes.
You know, and I just feel like a lot of the times, like in our generation, we just want to be connected with everybody. It's like, hey, what do you do? This, that, and the other, right? So it's just, I just feel like it's so weird when I'm the last year, and especially because what December baby. So I just
Oh
make the
yeah, you
cut.
were the last year, the last month.
Yeah, I was like, what, 10 days before the cutoff times?
Like it was literally just like luck
Right,
that he held it in there for you.
right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it'll be even weirder for the people that are born in '96 because they're like the very beginning. So imagine it being, let's say, the first millennial, you know?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
imagine the,
Wow.
what year was that? Was that 85 or no?
A little bit back because I know
At least the
Beyonce's
80s.
one and Taylor is 89.
Right.
Taylor Swift, Beyonce's like something. Yeah, back there.
Right.
80s, maybe late 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
I just
To
feel
be
like,
the first, that's crazy.
right, like I feel too old to be a Gen Z
Right.
and too young to be a millennial. So it's like I'm like, I get the older millennials, you don't know shit. And you get the Gen Z, fuck you, boomer. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm only like 2 years older than you. Even though I don't look like it, but fuck you.
Honestly, yeah, you're just kind of riding the waves and
Yeah,
having fun, actually relating to both,
right,
which I think is kind of a superpower.
right. And I just feel like how you told me before, you've complimented me that I'm a chameleon
Hmm. That's
because,
true. That's what
I'm,
I feel about George.
yeah, it's just like I can like go over here and be like, hey, what's up, guys? Just be cool with a younger generation and then be cool with the older generation.
Yeah,
I just feel like that's the cool thing about being right smack in the middle.
that's true. You
You
have
know,
practice. You
right,
can just kind of just be able to show up anywhere and just fit in
yeah,
and relate. And I think that comes from you also having an innate feeling of wanting to learn.
right,
And that applies to just social skills
right,
too. Knowing, okay, this generation might not be into TikTok, or this generation might not care what I'm posting about on Instagram. But like
right,
you understand how to, not necessarily turn off a switch, but just navigate.
right. Navigating be myself in a sense, because I'm not. When I'm talking to you, I talk to you like with my deepest feelings.
Yeah.
So I just feel like in that generation, I feel like that connects us in a way where I'm in the middle because I can be all by myself, like how Gen Zs like to be on their phone and just tuck away.
Right.
I can definitely do that, or I can be out and about. I do have social benefits, but
Yes.
so
Oh, would you consider yourself like extrovert when you need to, but then when you get home, it's like an ambivert type of deal? Because you
yeah,
are very like good at socializing and
right,
putting on personality and just connecting with people.
yeah.
But in your quiet moments, I mean, you love your quiet moments.
Oh, I love them too. Yeah, 'cause it just helps me reflect the stupid things that I've done or said, but
I'm hoping it's not a play by play, but
but it's just like I just like to. That's one thing that this job has taught me is it's like whoa, like I need to cut everything off, and I just come home and Maya's like, why the fuck aren't you talking to me? This, that, and the third. I'm like, I talked to like 50 people today,
There's
and so I'm just like
you are
tired, you know.
spent.
Yeah,
You
so
can't even. Yeah.
that's why I'm just like I can't hear another word. Please just shoot me.
Look, cut that out so you can save your marriage.
No, I'm just saying, no, and she knows because I come home and everything. Like at first it was hard for her to understand,
Yeah.
but
How would you communicate it though? Would you just come in tired, or would you be like, I gotta go lock myself in the bedroom real quick and just decompress?
she like at first like I wouldn't really say much, but that was rude of me to do because I understand that I have to incorporate her feelings into this, but just trying to learn how to communicate that is very hard because you're just like you don't like even though she's my favorite person in the world, there's times when I'm just like I just need a detox with just went on today,
Right.
and I don't want to put that bad energy to you. So just like let me be in my bad energy in that little corner,
Right.
and just like let me sleep it off.
Right. Like just get it all off and
Right.
everything. It's almost kind of like once you cross the threshold from work to home, you want to leave work behind.
Right.
And I totally get that. I didn't understand that in the beginning, basically, because it was just kind of like hustle culture and,
Right.
get to the next job that actually doesn't make you feel like crap.
Right.
But now, I mean, at least for me, I have to work from home. So I need a corner where it's just work so I can leave that corner and everything else in life
Right.
goes on.
Exactly.
And I don't have to think about that.
Exactly. And I still feel like I'm still practicing that because it's just a lot. Like a lot of people, like, expect a lot from you. And you're just like, what the fuck? Just trying the best that I can,
Right.
So, um, it's something new to learn on that point. It's tough, honestly. It's
Yeah.
really tough. And I hate coming home and, and feeling that way. But, and I'm just glad that I have a partner that understands that, because it's tough. Even her seeing me, she's like, "Hey, fuck job." I was like, "God."
It's like, yeah.
I'm like, "You want to be my sugar mama?"
Another good point though. Like honestly, you have to think about home just being that safe haven for you to show your ugly side, for you to just, you know, not be toxic, but also just like home is your safe place to just unwind, to be alone, to
Right.
just be in your worst mood ever, but just also to like recuperate and
Right.
get that battery back up. Because again, like we were saying before, you are good at bridging gaps with generations and talking to whatever, but that's a lot of energy mentally
Right.
that you are constantly putting out there to the universe.
And like growing up as a Latino, like it's crazy, but when your family is like you don't have depression, and like just things like that. And even though I've never said that I had depression, I know and I feel it, when I do have like when those moments do come. But it's like it's that work mentality of since we're so young, I just feel like we're like you need to do this, you need to do this,
Yeah.
you gotta keep going, keep going. There's like no resting time, So that's why when I come home, my own home now, just try to detox that and try to have a good time and everything. But there is times where I even I apologize to my wife. I'm just like I just cut myself off. I was like I just cannot, and I just put on earphones, just shut down, and get ready for the next day because I know the next day might be hell too.
Right.
So it's like you got to continue with that.
Yeah.
And it's a mental game, and a lot of people don't think that like your brain is a muscle, but it's like
it's the biggest muscle besides the tongue that you have.
And I just feel like that's a good point because older generations don't think that way.
Mm.
Like
It's more so like you have a job, you do it, and you
right,
get the money, and
right,
then you come home because you paid for the home.
right,
It's like very black and white.
right. But and I just feel like that's the cutoff of our generation. It's like where we're trying to be a little bit more mentally stable because
Oh yeah.
we know that there's fucking crazy people out here. So
Yeah.
it's just, and I think that's what divides the millennials with anything else because that bridge just basically took a whole nother route to basically make our workspace a little bit better, think about ourselves. It's like, hey, dude, you didn't do that, fucking go home,
Exactly.
That's why I feel like a lot of my coworkers and technicians, that that they give me a lot of respect because I'm just like, dude, the fuck, like, you did the best you could. See you,
You know,
enjoy your time with your family. Like, what the fuck, like,
yeah.
I'm like, these people, sure, like, they need their car, but it's just like, if you don't have a healthy mentally or a nice healthy mentality of like, hey, these people have they have a life out of here too. Like, you're never gonna get anywhere. You're not gonna get the respect you know like you do.
And honestly, it's one of those things where if you don't respect yourself, who's gonna respect
Right.
you? Like there again, back to the work-life balance that I think our generation is really good at expressing that yes, we know that money is the evil that we all need to live and
Right.
have jobs and, roof over our head, but that doesn't mean that work becomes life. And that is
Right.
a very fun line for a lot of people to learn how to separate the two.
Right.
And I think that just also comes with time because, in the beginning, all you cared about is getting that job and being able to pay for your own stuff and going shopping sprees. But now you're like a little bit more established in it. And it's like, okay, all my needs are met.
Right.
But am I happy? Am I experiencing burnout too much?
Right.
Do I not have a manager who cares about me? And these are questions I feel
Oh,
the older generations did not have. They didn't have the luxury of asking themselves.
exactly, and that's the thing. And we are like, as a generation, just trying to get that better to us. And I give props to the Gen Zs that they just,
Oh my gosh,
dude, that's
right
awesome.
out with
Honestly,
that, yeah.
it's just like, you don't like me, bye.
Yep.
I'm just like, cool. I'm like,
They realize that it's really just, I'm a number
right.
in the big if you're talking about corporations, it's a numbers game. You're just a number. You matter to certain people,
It is, yeah.
but you're a cog in the machine,
Right.
But the best part about realizing your worth is that you will go somewhere where you are actually respected and paid fairly and
Right.
that you enjoy and have a good way of managing, how many hours of a job you're going to get for the money,
Right.
And I think a lot of Gen Z, well, I could speak for Gen Zer, but I think a lot of millennials know that it's
Right.
all up to you. I
Right.
think back, in our parents' generation, whatever, you'd be at a job 20, 30 years and that's it.
Right.
Now we can jump from job to job
Right.
and get happier and happier
And get paid more too.
and get paid more.
You have the experience that you do have.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we're realizing. It's like, hey, if you're not gonna respect my time, goodbye. Time is more valuable than money.
Yeah.
Honestly, because what equals what?
Like the wealthiest thing you can have is time, but time is always passing. Again, you gotta be in the present moment.
Right.
And if your present moment is just stressing about work
Right.
and just bleeding, sweating for work,
Right.
you're wasting your time.
Right. Exactly. So, that's the reason why you gotta get in the job. I'll come later.
There we go.
You know.
Again, millennials, we just realize our worth and we are not afraid to go after it, which I really appreciate. And honestly, we're just breaking a lot of the old rules. Before it was like, you got 6 months into a year. Now it's like, oh, I see what this place does. Let me go somewhere else where,
Yeah.
So.
Seriously, and just leaving a toxic environment too, It's like, I felt like when I used to work at that Ford and Subaru, Ford and Subaru.
Back in like high school
Oh,
or after
basically,
high school.
basically kind of my college days still too. So I just feel like it was a very toxic, like
The crazy,
Right.
crazy thing people
Right.
just end up not caring how it affects other
Right.
people.
And you're just like, dude, what the hell do I do now? And just felt anxious just going in, and you're just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't like this. Goodbye.
You can't even function that way.
Yeah, right. And not only that, like just by doing that, I got paid more for doing the same thing that I was doing. So
It's beautiful. It's honestly, there's light on the other side.
Right.
We just have to walk through it.
Right. Just moving over. Just just once you start thinking about your mental health, then you'll start figuring out, hey, this isn't worth it. And you'll get paid more because A company that really values their employees are the ones that, hey, I'll give you more for your time because you're going to be spending this much time of being here than rather than at your own home. Like how, it's awesome to think of, when companies do think that way, but when they don't, you're just like, dude, you can see it.
Hmm.
You can see it.
It's like that quick, and you're very much on your own, every man for himself. And if you end up being sick or like just so mentally over, they don't care in
Right.
those toxic environments.
Right.
When like really it feels like if you feel like you have to go to work when you are sick and or burnt out and or just mentally not in it, that's a bad work environment. That's a toxic work environment.
Right. Right. So
I love that. That we know our worth, and our generation is a lot more aware of our worth, and our mental health is so important and tied to it. I think that's a great point.
right.
That, and honestly, off the vibe, it sometimes feels like you're an older millennial just because you are so aware of these concepts and are putting it to practice every day versus, and I'm just going to stereotype here, when we think of Gen Z, they were born with the phone in their hands. Like it's the new silver gold spoon in your mouth, right? So it's like, what do you know about struggle versus, I think a lot of Gen Zers, again, stereotyping here, disclaimer, they want to find meaning immediately. And I think everybody does, but it's most kind of to their detriment. You want to know, what does burnout actually feel like? What does a mental health issue feel like? Like knowing those things. I don't want you to experience them, of course,
Right.
but being aware of those things. And that you do have to kind of struggle a bit to find that sweet spot,
Yeah, no, seriously. No, and the one thing that amazed me is when people have said, I've never experienced depression until now. And I'm like, what in the world?
Wow. Wow, that's wow.
I'm like, so you've been happy this whole time?
Just free the bird.
It's like, I don't know. I just feel like in my mental health, it's just like, I want to exceed what I've already done yesterday. Right.
Okay.
So, whether it's marriage, whether it's my money, and when I fail, like, I just like start to shut down. So I honestly still need to practice some of these things, but, hey, you gotta be patient. So,
Yeah. It takes time.
it does take time. You're just like, Jesus, like, what the hell did I do?
See, that's a little Gen Z in you right there. You just
Right.
like, I want it to be better. I know I can do better. I know I can feel better. Why is this not working?
Right.
And sometimes it's just like, what? I'm gonna go back to computers. Like, you need a reboot.
Right.
You just need to slow everything down, stop, reset,
Take your
come out again
vacation.
tomorrow.
Take your break.
Bro, PTO. Can we talk about this
Oh
though?
my God, dude.
I think I come from a privileged background with the work from home and unlimited PCO thing, but that's also a trap too, because it's not like or it is a lose it or if you don't use it.
Yeah.
But like if I leave the job, I don't get paid out PCO I didn't use. So it's like you better schedule your PTO throughout the whole year.
California did the whole thing where you're able to get paid for PTO if you leave.
Well, my last job it wasn't like that. It was very much you have unlimited PTO, right? And then if you leave the job, get fired, laid off, you don't get PTO paid to you. That's not one of the benefits coming back to you because technically there is no PTO.
So technically,
It's just out of office. It's not paid time off. You're just out of office. Yeah, and it's still
Were you freelancing?
no, it's full time. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of those unlimited snags and they feel like treats and especially I'm talking from the tech industry really. They feel like benefits, but they're really just like, I've got you now. Right. And studies have shown that like most people who have unlimited PTO take less than people who actually do have certain amount of time to pay.
Well, it's because you just feel like you're earning it.
Yeah.
And when you earn it, you're like, hey, fuck you, I'm taking that shit off. So I just feel like that's the mental game that they're playing. They, I feel like they did the research before they did any of that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So take off your PTO. take your PTO, take your time off, take your lunch.
Oh my gosh.
I have a,
Yes.
I have a youngster right next to me. She was born what, 2000, year 2000.
Oh yeah, she started
So she's a new service advisor, and I told her, I was like, dude, and I told her from the very get-go, I was like, this company is gonna try to squeeze out as much as they can.
Don't let it.
And she was like naive and like, like, this that, and the third. And then as soon as she saw like, that they were doing that, she went, fuck you. And so I was like, hey,
That's beautiful. Honestly, I don't think you should give 100% to anything, besides rest and relaxation or your passion.
right,
I think jobs and work are a means to a certain end, whether that's saving up for a certain amount or getting something.
right,
But work, it should just be, more seen as a communal thing. Like, I am doing this job to support this community and make the
right,
world go round. That's it. But it shouldn't be something that is constantly wearing you down as
right,
a person. Then you're no good to society.
right.
Then what was
Exactly,
the point?
exactly. So it's just that's what I tell these when they're younger, I'm like, hey, don't fucking let yourself give it.
No.
Like, just
Don't give your best years to one place, one thing, one person.
it's like sure, like take advantage that sure, like let's put it in our old school, mentality. Sure, you got a job and everything there, but you have to learn that not every company's looking out for your best interests. So,
I would
yeah,
say, yeah, kind of approach almost every company
right,
that way. You look out for your best interests, whether that means getting ahead or going somewhere else.
right. So,
And that on that.
right. Old school stuff.